everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you do that now. Tap the bell for notifications so you know whenever we post a new video and when we go live. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris?
It's a now-centered Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
You're always caught off guard. What's up, everybody? It's Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy one more day until football season officially is here. It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You guys can follow me on all social media at @IamBrittJohnson.
So, Chris, besides it being the day before football starts, what day is it?
It's Hump Day! Also, happy birthday to Mr. J.R. Smith, too. I had to throw that in there, too, man. 35 today. Go ahead, Earl. Yes.
Earl, happy birthday, Earl.
Yes.
See how hyped he was last night? No points, but
Nope,
See?
the other way. There we go.
Yeah, all right.
Britt, were you impressed by that? Were you impressed by that at all? Okay.
No.
The point of it is to bring in the energy. Y'all can hate on, but the energy has been brought. Look, I'm proud of us, Devin. Don't worry about it. The energy is brought.
I didn't feel a lot of energy, though. So I feel like I'm not going to give you guys any advice on what you guys should do. Just keep working.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Teamwork, ladies and gentlemen. Top notch.
I'm very pleased with how we did, Chris. I think we did a great job. We're finding our groove. We did it this time. There was no forgetting.
You're
so
that's a start.
that's the start. And I think that we did bring the energy. I think we killed it. And on that note,
Let's get it.
right in. Let's do it. Okay, so Giannis, we have to talk about Giannis. He is set to become a free agent after the 2021 season, and the question has always been, will he stay or will he go? He's always said that he's going to stay loyal to the Bucks and he wouldn't leave regardless of what happens in the postseason. But there are a lot of people who do think that this latest incident is a motivation for him to gear up to say goodbye to Milwaukee. They were eliminated in 5 games in the second round by the Miami Heat, obviously, as we saw last night. But he actually talked to Yahoo Sports after the game, and he said that leaving is not an option. He said, quote, "It's not happening. Some see a wall and go in another direction. I plow through it. We have to just get better as a team individually and get right back at it next season." He also, and I appreciated this, he recognizes that what they're after, what they're trying to accomplish isn't just a walk in the park. He understands that he and his teammates can put up all the effort they want, but sometimes you're just not going to find the success that you're hoping for. He said, quote, "If winning a championship was easy, everyone would have one. We lost. It's disappointing, but what are we going to do? We're going to keep working. I've got confidence in my teammates. I trust my teammates. It's supposed to be hard." So this is the second straight season that the Bucks have entered the postseason with the NBA's best record, but they weren't able to make it to the finals. And it sucks for Giannis even more because he was sitting on the bench while this loss occurred because of that ankle sprain that he had. So I'm sure it was very frustrating for him. But I feel like in true Giannis style, he was pretty good-natured about it. He acknowledged that it's a challenge, it's not easy, and I appreciated that about him, although I'm sure inside he's a lot more disappointed and angry than he's letting on in these interviews that he's doing. But Britt, I want to ask you, do you think that Giannis is going to sign that contract extension that will lock him into 6 more years with the Bucks, or will he ask for something shorter?
I think he's going to sign an extension. I don't know for how long. I would say a typical 4-year extension, which is pretty normal in the NBA, would be what he does at this point. I wouldn't see him signing something longer than that, just because he's still such a young player and he has literally several contracts he can get more after this. So, like, you don't want to lock yourself down and do a Scottie Pippen deal where you're doing a 7-year contract, and then at that point, everybody else in the league is making way more money, and you're still making what's down here because the max contract was lower at that point than it is now at this point. So I don't think he's going to sign anything crazy long, because that's just not a smart thing to do regardless. Just because NBA salaries definitely continue to keep going up. And I think their CBA is happening in a couple of years, their next one. So I don't see them at a point where they would even like not do something like that. His agents, I don't think they would do anything like that, just because he could end up being like a 3-4 time NBA MVP by that point, and like he's still getting paid what he was getting paid 6 years ago. That just doesn't make sense. So I do think he signs an extension. I just don't think it's going to be a really, really long one. I think it would be a standard 3-4 year contract.
All right, I can see that happening too. And you guys all know that I think after that, he's going to end up in LA with the Lakers. That's obviously my prediction, as I've said before, but we'll see what happens. Jackie, I have to ask you, do you think there's a chance that he actually won't re-sign with the Bucks despite what he's saying now?
I mean, I honestly think he'd be foolish not to re-sign with the Bucks because I think we kind of forget how Giannis came into the league. There wasn't a lot of tape on him. He was this Greek guy that we didn't know a lot about. So they kind of took a chance on him. And, check the tapes. Me and Chris talked about this when I first started at the Fumble. Giannis has no real shot. He has a lot of areas that he needs to develop in. We've seen that he's not the guy. They definitely need to facilitate some other things for him. You probably do need somebody like a Jimmy Buckets on his team, somebody who is more aggressive, somebody who can call other players out. I don't know how you're going to do that when Chris Middleton got this crazy contract, but you do have some wiggle room, and I think Eric Bledsoe's contract you could probably trade out. Ain't nobody going to pick up Chris Middleton's contract, though, so you stuck with him. But you do have to – you need somebody else. That's the thing, and I think that we've kind of said – we have this narrative that, Giannis can get it done. Giannis can get it done. He's proven that he can't. He's proven that he needs – a facilitator. He needs to kind of take, and I hate to, because Britt's going to start grinning ear to ear, but he needs to take a page out of Kawhi's book and just really stay in the gym day in and day out, learning how to shoot. Because that's the thing with big men. Everybody thinks they can't shoot and they can just defend, and but Kawhi has proven that that's not true. But people forget all the work that Kawhi put in at the beginning of his career, day in and day out, to make that happen. So I think Giannis has a lot of work to do. He owes the Bucks a little bit more. Just because they did take a chance on him. So I think that he should stay. They should figure out some wiggle room and get him, like I said, somebody like Jimmy Buckets. And then I think next season, because they're great in the regular season, so they got to figure out the postseason. So if they can figure out the postseason, and in the postseason, you need that aggressive, in-your-face player, get that person on your team. I've heard a lot of talk about, wouldn't it be amazing if they could afford Chris Paul, but they can't. But they need somebody like that, and then they'll be a real contender in the postseason.
Right. Yeah, I've seen those conversations about Chris Paul as well. And Chris, actually, I was going to ask you, maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on what Jackie was saying. But what I wanted to know from you was, what do you think Giannis needs in Milwaukee to find more success in the playoffs next season? How can the team improve?
You guys literally just said it. If I am the Milwaukee Bucks, I am making sure that I have the Thunder on speed dial. We've seen the reports yesterday that the Thunder are going to be looking to unload some of those contracts because of other things that will be going on for them financially, and it just makes too much damn sense to flip. Not for each other, but if you're flipping an Eric Bledsoe that they have right now and then replacing that with a Chris Paul. Yeah, Chris Paul gives you that Jimmy Butler because Chris Paul is very, very, very gritty in a lot of people's face, and he's very, he's Chris Paul, little bulldog, and I just think it makes too much damn sense, and that's the kind of person that I think Giannis needs to be playing next to, and even I think it would even definitely work with Chris Middleton, who is another guy who is like Giannis, also not quite like us, but all-star level and can score and is good at what he does, but he's just not a talkative guy. He's not going to be the aggressor. So you put Chris Paul in that unit with them, keep Brook Lopez and what they do. I think the Bucks go from just being a very good regular season team to being a team that can actually compete in the playoffs.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, so it looks like we're all in agreement. What was that, Chris?
I was just good. My only thing is what they give up. I don't know because Chris Paul got a pretty hefty contract too, but they got to figure out.
I just don't know how they would afford him.
That's the only problem. It would have to be Chris Middleton, but I don't know. There's a lot of.
But nobody's going to pick up Chris Middleton's contract. I think he's getting paid too much.
Yeah, and you can't flip bad money for bad money with the Thunder because, like I said, the Thunder need to get rid of some of their money, as you saw the report from yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it looks like we're all in agreement here. Giannis will, in fact, stay with the Bucks at least for a few more seasons. But hopefully they'll be able to add some other support for him on the team in whatever way they can, so that they can have more postseason success. Let's get into some news about the NFL. Some good news about the NFL. So we are obviously leading into the start of the 2020 NFL season, and the League and Players Association announced the latest results from their COVID-19 testing. There was one new confirmed positive test among players and 7 more among other personnel for tests conducted between August 30th and September 5th. So that's 8 total positive test results. They administered 44,510 tests to 8,349 players and team personnel during a 1-week period. So 8 out of 80 to 300 is very small, and it's good news. Whatever they're doing is working, and it's exciting. So, Jackie, does this give you hope that the NFL will be able to have a successful season ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of talked about that. Like we asked the question, like, should this be a sign for college football? Did they pull the trigger too soon? So I think I'm looking forward to having a full season. But then, today, just before we came on, then I saw that a college football player, what's his name? Stevenson, had died at age 20 from COVID related. So then for me, here's the weird way that my mind works. My mind is like, okay, first of all, I haven't done enough research to know if there's a pre-existing condition, but even because there's a lot of people that have tested positive as far as college, and then there's this one person. So is that enough? Is one person? But then I'm like, hell yeah, one death is enough. Like, if we can save one person from dying, then yeah, we should definitely protect people. But I just don't know if I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I personally have only known one person to get it. It was 14 days later, you wouldn't have even known they had it. But I also know families who have people who have died from it. So I don't know. I'm still erring on the side of caution. But I think that the NFL, whatever they're doing, is working. Because if you test that many people and you have less than 1% that are even testing positive, and even if they're testing positive, they're not showing any real, symptoms from the virus, I think that's a good chance. So I say push forward.
Yeah. Well, they will be pushing forward. But Chris, what do you think will be the biggest difference this season besides not having fans in the stands? Like, what do you think is going to look the most different?
I think that's the biggest thing is definitely that. I mean, obviously the NFL is going to try to, with the phrases and stuff that they're going to be putting in the end zones and stuff like that, they're going to be trying that. It's still going to be hard for me to completely be a part, completely believe, but it's a good step for them as far as the Black Lives Matter and end racism and those kind of things. But other than that, I think the biggest thing is going to be those fans. That we already got the reports that they're going to be, especially the dome teams are going to be blasting sounds and blasting all kinds of stuff. Like the Superdome is going to be insane, even though there's no fans in the stands, because of how the dome is already built as it is. So it's like, I think there's going to be a different feel.
Are we for sure, Chris? Are we
that's
for
what they're
sure
saying.
that we're not going to have, because some?
Well, no,
not
having stands. That's not for sure.
Yeah,
that's not for sure.
Right. But I know it's team by team. But I would just assume this, like the Superdome, and I would assume the Seahawks, just because of the way their stadiums are built. I would just assume that they're going to have some fans in the stand.
And the thing, those two teams, like some would be enough, like because of how those stadiums.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I would be fine with that. I'd be completely cool with that. Yeah. Like, but as like right now, because I haven't heard anything about the Saints saying that they're having anybody come through. I don't know about the Saints, but I do know that they have already had the conversation and talked about pumping sound, and that in itself, unlike a bubble, is going to make a little bit of a difference for football in that kind of stadium when a quarterback's trying to talk to their team on the line when they got like how you going to be trying to call your plays. So I think there's going to be subtle differences, but the biggest thing is going to be the fans thing. But like Britt and Jackie just said, there's still going to be some fans in some of these stadiums. We've already had some owners talk about, Jerry Jones talk about they're going to make sure that there's going to be fans in the stands regardless of the amount that are coming in. So yeah. And with this COVID thing, real quick, I just want to say this is huge. I think we're glossing by it. Like, for the NFL to only have that many people, like, that's great for them. I really hope that these players, as the season goes on, they continue to practice. what they've been doing in the training camps and whatnot, because now they're gonna be traveling, going to other cities. They're gonna be playing they're gonna be like on week 5, week 6, and you don't know how they're gonna be feeling. So I just hope that continues, because if that's the case, then yeah, we might be able to go the full distance with the season this year, and that'd be pretty cool. But hopefully,
Yeah,
Can I, Devin, let me ask you a random question, because my brother and I were talking about this morning. If the NFL continues, if they do their whole entire season and they only have 1 or 2 positive tests, like kind of like the road they're on now, does that add to the narrative of people who think that, oh, this COVID virus isn't really real? Because if anybody was going to get it, it would be these football players who are always hugged up and slapping all over each other. Does it kind of add value to that?
I think that it will validate the people who have that perspective. I'm sure that they'll find that that's, that kind of like justifies and adds truth to that narrative. But I don't necessarily feel that that's the case. I think that, these athletes are following strict protocols. They're, they're obeying the rules for the most part, and they're keeping themselves safe. So I feel like that's the reason they're not having an outbreak of coronavirus within the football league. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'll validate people, but I still will not be the person buying into the narrative that this is all a hoax or whatever. Like, I'd rather just believe that it's like, I'm going to be safe and careful and hope that no one I know, hope that I don't get sick or whatever. But that's a great question. Britt, I want to ask you, I know you're very excited about football coming back tomorrow, so are you optimistic about how the season is going to play out in the same way that Jackie is and Chris?
The season, I said on Britt's take, we will have a full season. I said that last week, and I still believe that regardless of if there's 10 to 15 players that test positive, the NFL is not going to pump the brakes on this season. They are going to have a full 17-week season. Mark my words, I guarantee it. There's not going to be any kind of stoppage or whatever the case. I don't even think games, like, they're not testing players on game day. I actually think that's a good idea, because coaches cannot switch up their schedule day of game. They just can't. If they have 10 players that test positive the day of the game, like, what are they going to do? They can't do that. If they're traveling, they would have needed to bring some of their practice squad guys, all this kind of stuff. Like, they're just not going to do that. So I actually agree with them not testing on game day. I think it's just puts too much in the air for players and stuff. We know, like, NBA is huge on always saying, like, ooh, we'll let you know right before the game if so-and-so is going to rest this game or play or not. The NFL doesn't really do stuff like that, just because they really personally can't afford to do stuff like that, like, and I think it is smart for them to not do that, but they did say they were going to test the players every other day besides the game day. And so I don't think they'll have any super crazy surprises, like with the MLB and having, day of game stuff like, oh, you guys have 17 tests, we got to postpone the game, we got to do this, da-da-da-da. Like, NFL's not, like, going to deal with any surprises. They're going to make sure they're prepared to, if 17 players do test positive the day before, they're going to be like, okay, well, we're bringing these other guys in and we're still going to have the game. I literally think that's why they're not doing game day tests. They're not going to cancel any game because of COVID at all. So, yeah, we're going to have a full football season. I'm, like, excited that the players have done a good job thus far on making sure they're limiting who they're hanging out with, or whatever, they're wearing their masks when they go out or washing their hands, whatever it is that they're doing. I hope, and I do believe they'll continue doing that, because, like I said last week on Britt's take, they don't have guaranteed money like everybody else does. Yeah. So they're literally on the line, like, their job is on the line every week, and they don't want to lose their job, because guess what? If they get COVID and have to miss a game, and the practice squad has to step in and take his place, and that practice squad guy has a good game, bye-bye, vet. You have another guy that's just took your space. That's just how the NFL works. It's, what have you done for me lately? So these players know that, and I don't think they're trying to risk it all for that in those situations, because they know it's a business, and it doesn't matter how much the coach likes you or everyone on the team likes you. That don't mean you get a spot on this team or you're guaranteed anything in this league. So I think players realize that, most of them at least. So I don't think they're going to, and haven't. It's shown that they haven't, because only 2 teams did a what is it called? A bubble. The Dallas Cowboys and the Saints. Those are the only two teams that did a bubble. And so all the other 30 teams in the league that didn't do a bubble still didn't have positive tests. That's like amazing. So these players, for once, are smarter than I thought they were, because sometimes they be doing some crazy stuff. And I'm like, y'all, I cannot care about you more than you care about yourself. Like Jackie said that before too. Like, we can't keep doing this, And this is one time that I'm finally, you guys are getting it, and I'm so happy to see, because I miss football and I love football. And I'm so glad.
I miss tailgating though. Like, what am I supposed to? I love tailgating.
We gotta go to whatever places are open, because LA is not about this.
They're not about that life.
Sunday night football this week, you guys, is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams in SoFi Stadium here in Los Angeles, opening up the brand new stadium Sunday night football, and I will not be there. I just can't.
I'll be right across the street from it. I'll be right across the street, but I mean, like, for real, I feel like they should open the parking lot at least. Right?
At least.
Drive-in thing and just have a giant screen.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Charge us.
That'd be fire.
Charge $30-$40.
I would pay $100 to go into the parking lot, because, like I told you guys, my friend lives right behind it, so I hear them when they're testing. You can hear just fine from the parking lot. I'll pay $100 to be in the parking lot and see the little reflection from the lights and stuff. I'm down.
Oh no!
Chris.
Oh no!
Take it away.
There she is.
Oh yeah, she's back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for post stuff.
Could you hear me? No, I was like, it was real frozen.
We heard the Chris. Yeah, you heard the Chris. But it's okay. It's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for post up with your boy Chris, Quarantine Edition. And we got a fun little lineup here that we got to talk about today. Starting off with Anthony Davis from last night's game against the Rockets. Yes, the Lakers are now up 2-1 in the series. Congratulations to the Lakers. They're starting to look like how they're supposed to be looking. Anthony Davis was looking like a little bit how he's supposed to be looking. So congratulations to Lakers. But Russell Westbrook has been looking like how he's not supposed to be looking, because a lot of players have been letting him shoot, and he has not been punishing these players like Russell Westbrook normally does in the past. So much so that when he got to the paint, Anthony Davis just had to stare at him, and he didn't even try to guard him, to the point where he missed a shot. And Anthony Davis, well, he got caught saying this after the missed jumper by Russell Westbrook.
Third foul on Anthony Davis. Westbrook can't get it to go.
Well, damn. well, damn. If you didn't hear it, it was Anthony Davis saying, "Oh, hell no." A very nicer version of Carmelo Anthony's normal rebounding yell. But, Russell Westbrook just been – I don't know what's going on. His jumper, I feel like throughout the years, is going the wrong direction, to the point where he's in the paint this time and still missed a shot. And you got Anthony Davis yelling, "Oh, hell no," to him. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Lakers up 2-1 in that series. And, yeah, they're feeling good. Lakers feeling so good that they got a board in their hotel room that they're just knocking off every single win until they get to that championship. As you know, that there are 16 games. You have to win 16 games to win the championship, obviously, because 7-game series, best of 4, blah, 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 do the math. And LeBron James, on every team he's been on, he always does some sort of team-building thing like this that the Lakers are doing. You can see here there's a board where every time they get a win, put an X on the board all the way up until that trophy, because by win 16, they will be holding the trophy, and they will all be excited about that. LeBron, if for those who probably know more commonly, he did the Heat did the whole puzzle piece thing after every win. They put a piece of the puzzle, and it was a whole thing. They would say, "All right, yeah," the player of the game will put their piece for that game and whatnot. So the Lakers are following suit, and they're doing that. It's a nice little team building thing. It's cute, little arts and crafts going to the NBA Finals. Go ahead, Lakers. I see you guys. So Jackie, just being the LeBron guy that you are, following him on every step. Like I said, this is not a new thing for LeBron James. Do you feel like this is a really good team building exercise for the team to be hyped up going into finals? I personally like it, because I feel like it's better to look at the game that way, as in, wins, because you could be down like he was. You can be down 1-3 in a series, but knowing that you just need wins to check off on a board, more so than thinking, oh, damn, man, we need to win this next one. Are we going home?
Yeah.
I think this is a better way to look at it. Do you agree? Do you think that this is the main reason why LeBron and the Lakers are doing this year?
Yeah, I actually love this. I love anything LeBron does to do the team building and build chemistry. And this specifically, like sometimes I took a psychology class way back in the day. And one of the things they said, like if you're like so bogged down and you're stressed out and you are anticipating everything going wrong, that you make a list, and no matter what order, just crossing that off reaffirms your mind and makes your mind feel like, okay, we're getting closer. So it doesn't really matter what's on the list. It's just what you can cross off. So the fact that he's kind of tapped into that kind of psychology, I'm like, okay, LeBron, I see you. Super dope. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's such a better way to look at it. Like if I was a player on the team, just looking at it that way, like, oh, damn, we got that many more wins till we in the championship, and you could be down in the series, but you know that you're that close to it. Looking at it that way, I think that's such a better, psychological way. So hearing you say that's very true. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start checking off all the things on my list so I can stop being so damn stressed out with a lot of things I got going on. I'm learning. But speaking of checking things off, Kevin Durant can officially check off the fact that he's healthy, so he doesn't have to worry about his injury that he had been worrying about from just in the NBA Finals last season, where he tore his Achilles. Now he's on the beach playing catch, and he's running around looking fine. I mean, we've already been seeing him working out in practice and doing regular 5-on-5s and stuff like that. But yeah, he got caught on Manhattan Beach just playing catch with the boys and wearing his Brooklyn Nets pants. And it's crazy because you see like the fans slowly start to realize like, oh, that's Kevin Durant. Hey, what's up, man? All right, KD, keep it going. And then we got another group of guys coming in, and we're going to see a dude taking a photo of him. But KD, looking good. Looking like he got flippers for feet. But yeah, KD looking like he's ready to go. So I'm with that.
Him. Like they all look like
they really do.
children.
Yeah, for real. A whole 7-foot Kevin Durant. Look at him. He's moving fine. Oh, and we making moves. Oh, okay. Look, Kevin Durant looking good. Still hate his team, but I'm happy to see he's healthy. I do like Kevin Durant. I just am a hater because I hate what he did. Anyways, moving on to a little bit of trash talk. We had a little bit of a spat, a little bit of beef going on in the Nuggets and Clippers series. Now, Patrick Beverley had some things to say about the Nuggets and Mike Malone, and of course, that as the media would do, they went over to Mike Malone and they were like, "Hey, did you hear what Patrick Beverley had to say?" And Mike Malone had a pretty solid comeback. For a coach, not being one in the game, he had a pretty solid comeback, and this is what he had to say to Patrick Beverley's comments.
Well, I mean, I don't listen to Patrick Beverley a whole lot. If Kawhi Leonard was talking, maybe I might listen to it. Kawhi's a great player. But all you got to do is look at the stat sheet. Zubac attempted more free throws than Nikola Jokic. They shot 26 free throws. We shot 10. So I'm not really sure what game Patrick is talking about or looking at. But, I really don't warrant and give too much attention to that.
So as much as I like this, I also hated it because you're going to start off this press talking about, I don't listen to Patrick Beverley. But then you went on and defended yourself on what Patrick Beverley was initially talking about. Meaning,
right.
You might have heard what Patrick Beverley had to say. So, Mike Malone, as much as I like the initial comment, I'm also going to have to give you an L on this because you went in the circle and you backtracked on your own self in the same damn interview. But anyways, whatever it may be, you cannot not hear Patrick Beverley. I don't care who you think you are. But moving off of that, we're going to be talking about some football because like we've been mentioning, football starts tomorrow, and we got a lot of football things to talk about here today, starting off with somebody who finally got paid. Now, we talk about Hard Knocks here on the show, and, as so-so as the season has been, one of my favorite moments was when Jalen Ramsey was being asked by the media about his contract, and he gave him a straight-up answer saying, like, I ain't got nothing for you. Talk to the guys that handle that stuff, and they didn't like the answer, and Jalen walked off. Like, what else you want me to say? So, all that being said, fast forward to now, Jalen Ramsey signed his extension with the Rams, where the bottomless pit Rams, because I don't know where they have all this money. I know they're in LA, but man, I just feel like they're throwing on these contracts like crazy. But this man got $105 million extension for 5 years. And Jalen Ramsey is making sure that he's letting all of the people that know him, that may have his number, that may come in contact with him, making sure that they know that he is not looking to be giving out any money to anybody, because he posted this video on his on Twitter right after the news had broke on social media today. It's pretty funny.
I ain't got no money. That money you be seeing me with on Instagrams, that be fake money, man. That be prop money. This is not my money, girl. I do not have nothing.
I know that's right. I love that. Nothing.
Because people can be like, "Yo, Taylor, congrats on that contract. Can I hold it down? Like, what's good, man? You got LA. What's good? But shout out to Jalen Ramsey. I'm a fan of him. Not a fan of the team, but I'm a fan of him. Glad he got a situation in Jacksonville to go to LA, where he's way happier. And I think that is a contract that is well deserved. But I'm still trying to figure out, man. LA, they got money, bro. The Rams got money, because everybody, I feel like, got $100 million contract over there. But shout out to Jalen Ramsey. Now, we got some Colin Kaepernick stuff with Madden. Now, we got a lot of responses, a lot of everything, but Madden, even me, I'm so on this whole thing, but Madden finally decided to lift their it wasn't a ban, but it felt like a ban of Colin Kaepernick, because I want to say it was Madden 18 or Madden 19 where they officially took Colin Kaepernick off of the roster because Madden, because they don't really have a reason for it, because like we talked about way back in the day, I think it was Britt that did the video. Colin Kaepernick he's not retired, but according to Madden, they treated him as such and they took him off the free agency board. But yet we still see a lot of players that are on free agency that you can pick up if you play Madden that have not been on the field for just as long as Colin Kaepernick, but yet they're still in the damn game. Well, Madden, knowing that their ratings have not been the greatest, they said, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to bring Colin Kaepernick. I bet you this will get people to buy the game. And that they did. So Colin Kaepernick, if we can get that first tweet up, Leo, is officially back in the game. Now, I'm half and half on this, because I am a Colin Kaepernick fan, so I'm excited to see him in the game and excited to be able to pick him up and use him. But in the same breath, I hate what Madden is doing with this, because just like how I say all the time with the NFL and how, they were feeling one way just yesterday and now they're singing a whole completely different tune, Madden is doing the same thing. Because let's not forget, not only did they take Colin Kaepernick out of the game not too long ago, if it wasn't Madden 20 or if it wasn't the same Madden 19, they made sure to bleep his name out of a song lyric from that same game. So Madden, they obviously felt a way about Colin Kaepernick, but nonetheless, he is back in the game. And one cool thing from this that I enjoy outside of his face cam being on point is they put in his celebration that he was doing in his last season in 2016, and that was the power of the people. They've added that in there. I love that. I think that's dope. So I mean, that's the only positive you won't get from me on this. I am going to use them, but I still have my beef with Madden and EA, as I always have. And I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that felt a way about this. Both positive, but a lot of negative. Starting with Ben Shapiro, who tweeted out, "Gonna be sad when even in Madden he gets benched for Blaine Gabbert." Okay, low blow. Next one, putting out saying, "Best example." I love this. Best example of people hate our product. Quick, make it woker. And that's exactly what happened, because we know Madden's ratings were all the way down. Next one is basically, how I'm feeling. Seems like finding a way to profit off of everything going on, huh? Quite the change of tune. And couldn't agree more with that. And last but not least, we have this one that says, Madden acting like they support Cap now when they had his name censored in a song a few years ago with a bunch of clown emojis. And it wasn't even a few years ago. It was literally just like, I think it was Madden 19. I swear. If it wasn't Madden 20, it was Madden 19. So it was not that long ago. And here they are singing a completely different song. So, Britt Johnson, I got to talk to you about this. How are you feeling about Colin Kaepernick being put back in the game? Do you care? And if you do you think it is is it a good move, or do you think Madden's out here trying to capitalize on the situation?
I mean, I think they thought they were jumping onto the correct train, but I think everybody was trying to push them off the train because they literally came into a situation where it's a little too late. Just like I said yesterday with NFL teams even saying or whatever, oh, let's get Cap or Bo. No, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played since 2016. A year later, you took him off of Madden and haven't had him on Madden for the last 3 years. So now it doesn't even make sense to bring him back without admitting that you were wrong for taking him off, because we all know you've had free agents that have been on Madden forever and you haven't had Cap on there. So can you explain to us before you release this, or say whatever you need to say before you release this, and say why you didn't have him or why you removed him the last 3 years? Don't just put it on and say, like, their thing was like, welcome back, Cap, and put a thing on it and without anything else. They didn't say anything else. So I'm like, I don't know. And then people were talking about him having that 81 rating when Cam Newton has a lower rating than that. Kyler Murray 74. Has a lower rating than that. So it's just like, there you go, trying to like smush up and like be like, hey, Cap, like our friend Colin Kaepernick, and like, let's do the Black Fist thing and not do his one that everybody knows more. So his like kissing his bicep. Like, you know, I like, you can't.
But that one is in the game. Because I felt the same way, but they added the bicep is in the game. Because I felt the same way. I was like, don't just have the, but no, when you play, it is in the game. I trust me. I was right there with you, but it's in there.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It made it even worse. Okay, cool. Well, good to that part. But
one part,
you need to say a whole sentence before you say "Welcome back, Cap." You need to say, "Sorry, we were wrong for not putting Colin Kaepernick in the game the last 3 years. We have other free agents that are in the game. We shouldn't have done that. So, you know, to try to make amends, we're going to add him back to the game." That's what they need to say that. Like, there's a giant elephant in this room.
Something, because they're about to say the only, like, you decided to take him out. Like, that wasn't any of us. That wasn't him retiring. You guys decided to take him out for your own reasons, and now you're trying to bring him back. It's a mess. And on what you said with the rating, he's an 81 overall. And as much as I love Cap, at the same breath, in 2016 when he was in the game and he was actually on the team, he was only a 74 at that time. But then after not playing for some time, he jumps up rating. Come on, man. It's not a good look at all. I am happy he's in the game because I do want to use him, but in that same breath, I would be okay if he wasn't, because I know exactly what y'all trying to do by putting him in the game. But either way, there goes EA and Madden trying to be EA and Madden, trying to get their money and trying to capitalize off of things that should not be capitalized off of. But hey, we should not be surprised at this point. And last but not least, we had, speaking of retiring, we had some, I want to say sad, but it was also, especially after Britt's take from yesterday, it was a little bit of refreshing for Ryan, because now, you know, he can go on and move on to that next phase, because he is still recovering and still he's a lot better now than, you know, when he had suffered the initial injury. For those who may not know, Ryan Shazier, he had a very terrible hit a few years ago, to the point where he was paralyzed from the waist down. He now is able to walk, but at a slower pace, and he's getting better each and every day. He had been trying to make comebacks to the league while he was under contract still with the team, but that ultimately didn't follow through, obviously. But you know, they were all working hard. He was working really hard, to the point where today he ultimately released a video announcing his retirement from the league. And here's a little clip from that statement.
I'm here today to make sure the world knows how much I still love football, how grateful I am for everything football gave me, and I'm here to let the world know that today I am officially retiring from the game I love so much.
Yeah, rough. If you go, the whole entire thing is over on the Players Tribune. I please go watch it. You know, you could tell that even though he's reading from something, you can tell there's a lot. It's an emotional situation for him, because it's not like he's retiring on his own. Like, he's being forced in a way because of, you know, what unfortunately happened for him. But I'm so glad that Britt shared the light that she did yesterday, because as sad as it is that he is having to give up something that he knew his entire life in football, this opens up so many doors for so many other things, because there are so many other kids and so many other people, maybe even adults, that are looking at him, that, you know, to go from the injury he had where he could have just wallowed in it, and you never probably walked again to the point where he's now at a point where he is able to walk, and he's continuing to rebound, continue to get better. That he can be a voice for a lot of people, and I wholeheartedly expect him to do that, to pursue that and talk to other people and be there and be that voice for other people, and maybe even other things. Hell, maybe he might even end up being a defensive coach, because all this aside, Ryan Shazier was getting ready to break out and be. He was already good as it was, but he was getting ready to break out and be one of the best at his position, because he was a damn solid piece for the Pittsburgh Steelers when he was playing. So it was sad, but in the same breath, glad that he was able to come to grips with it the way that he did, and all the best for Ryan Shazier, what he does next. But on that note, that's how I'm ending Post Up, and thank you guys for listening.
Not because I don't like players on the team, because I actually like them a lot. I just feel like when they go there, their careers become stagnant. I actually love Myles Garrett as well. So let me just be honest with this one, that I 100% believe him when he says that Mason Rudolph called him the N-word. I think it's a punk move to do. And if you remember that play, Mason Rudolph clearly grabbed him in the man parts first, then tried to take off his helmet. And it was after he tried to take off Myles' helmet, that's when Myles took his helmet off and tried to bust him in the head with it. So I felt like it was all warranted, but I get it. You can't do that in the NFL. But nonetheless, Myles said that he actually, when that whole thing went down, he thought about just leaving the NFL. He thought about retiring, which I can see. If you guys know anything about Myles Garrett, he seems like a pretty gentle, kind of calm, give back type of person. So I could see why this might mentally mess with him. For me, if you call me the N-word, what I'm not going to do is ever feel like that's not who you are from here going out. I know Britt believes that people can change. I believe that people can model, but I just have to wonder what this conversation would be like. So Chris, that's my question for you. Let's just concede that Mason Rudolph did use the N-word in this exchange between him and Myles Garrett. And let's just concede that he's never going to admit to it. How do you start a conversation with somebody who won't admit their wrongdoing? I think we're having the same conversation about the NFL. They won't admit what they did wrong. So how does that conversation start if someone won't even admit what they did wrong?
I think that's the best part, because it's probably going to end up being a conversation where he's not going to own up to what happened. And but in the same breath, I'm still with Myles on having this conversation, even if he doesn't fess up to it. For Myles Garrett to still, say his piece and say what he needs to say, that's up to then Mason to see what kind of person he truly is. I mean, we may already know, who knows? But in that same breath, to let Myles say what he needs to get off his chest, that he didn't appreciate. He didn't like that. No one else is going to like that. Just whatever it may be, that's then on Mason, but at least Myles can get that off his chest and push how he feels about the situation. And I'm cool with that if they agree to have that conversation. Will it do anything for Mason? Probably not. I mean, he probably just might continue to be the same dude he is. We're not ignorant on that situation, but at the same time, for Myles to be able to be the man that he is, to have that conversation, to be real with you, I'm cool with that. I'm not really concerned about.
Though? I mean, you served your suspension. We've moved on. Now we're literally in a pandemic talking about the coronavirus. Will the NFL? I mean, is it necessary?
No, it's not. But to Myles, it might be. It might be in his brain. It might be that this dude probably has never heard this from anybody like me before. So let me be the one that at least share that message to you. And like I said, he probably won't take anything away from it, but at least Myles said what he had to say, and then we know then move on. But he does not have to do anything. He does not need to say anything to him. He can move on, like you say, he did what he had.
I can hear you.
All right, I had to. Okay, I'm not seeing it moving on YouTube yet, though. So I don't know if Britt can hear us.
Arthie says go to Britt's Cakes.
Okay, Britt, are you there? Okay, well, so since I have some time, can we talk about Danny Green for a second? Can we talk about how Kyle Kuzma should start instead of Danny Green? Does anybody want to talk about that at all? Because Danny Green getting on my last damn nerves. Him and KCP can't find the shot. Oh, Britt's back. I hear. Are you there, Britt? thought
I don't hear
Britt.
her.
I thought I heard a Britt. All right.
Green
Chris,
is
are
getting
you
on
there?
too. Oh,
Hello?
Oh, okay, Chris, you're there. So we're just waiting for Britt right now. So I
Okay.
said while we're waiting for Britt, can we please address the fact that Danny Green should be coming off the bench and Kyle Kuzma should be starting? Can we address that since we got time? Is there any of us that can
Oh
just
man,
go ahead?
no.
Oh, she's back. She's back.
There she
Okay,
is.
all right. We will put that on pause for right now because
Oh
now
my
it's time.
God.
Perfect time.
It's time for Britt's takes.
Brits take.
All right, we might have time at the end because this is going to be a quick take, I think. So, three-time Olympic gold medalist Carrie Walsh Jennings. You guys know who she is. She is a beach volleyball player. She is 6'2". She always played in the bathing suit. She's tall, like everybody loved her. And I thought she was super liberal from what I remembered of her, but maybe things have changed. Like I said, people do change. And maybe she is way more conservative and a part of the Trump crew now that does not believe in masks. So she took to her social media yesterday and said that she had a little exercise in being brave. And she meant her exercise in brave by going to the grocery store without a mask on. She stated she had recently read a quote a few days prior to that and said that masks are not enforced, just consented to. And she said that that was an awakening for her in some way, and she wanted to stand up for rights and freedoms. So she decided to go to the grocery store without a mask on because she said she was not putting anybody else at risk by doing that. That is just her rights and her freedoms. She also stated that she will be leaving her home state of California, where the Fumble is filmed. So we all know what's going on here. You guys know a lot. We talk a lot about a lot of stuff is still closed down. You do have to, because in the state of California, it is a mandate to wear masks when you enter into establishments like grocery stores or basically anywhere that's indoors, CVS, anything. You have to have a mask on. That is the law here. People can refuse service to you if you don't. Just like the old saying of, or the thing that we've always seen forever, no shirt, no shoes, no service. Well, masks are included in that as well. So she said she was going to be leaving California. She didn't specifically say if it was actually because we have a mandate of masks, but around the same time that she decided she didn't want to wear masks, or she was going to be brave and not wear a mask, is when she has decided to leave California, or announced she was leaving California. She got a lot of negative attention because of this. People went in on her on social media. There were nurses and doctors and stay-at-home moms and everybody that you can think of going in on her about not wearing a mask in a grocery store, especially in the state of California. She said she released it's not really an apology, but she said that she was actually advocating critical thinking, and she actually usually does always have a mask on, which is why she said this was a brave moment for her, because she said that she has always worn a mask, even though she doesn't think that the masks actually work, at least the masks that we wear. Like, obviously most of us are wearing just cloth masks or bandanas or whatever we can find, and we're not wearing those, I think, the N95 masks, whatever they're called, the ones that are actually like the doctors and stuff are wearing, like the professional ones. So she said, well, we're wearing, she's never believed works and is effective anyway, but she's always worn them just because she was told to wear them. And she wanted to take a stand and say, I don't believe this, so why should I have to wear a mask? Because I don't think these particular masks work. For the critical thinking part, Carrie, I get where you're coming from, because a lot of times we do stuff just because somebody told us we have to do it, and we don't ask questions about why we have to do something. But there has been enough things that have come out from March till now that says wearing a mask helps. It doesn't hurt anybody to wear a mask. I get sick of this rhetoric of, you know, wearing a mask. Oh, well, you're breathing in now your own carbon, all this kind of stuff, whatever. Doctors wear masks all the time. They have forever now, nurses as well, and they never have gotten a disease because they've worn a mask. So at this point, this is my say less, Carrie moment for you, because it just doesn't, I mean, especially you live in California, okay? We have a mandate here, so it's not your quote that you read that said it is not enforced, it's just consented to, is not true. It is a law, not a law, but it is a mandate that we have in the state of California right now that you need to wear a mask when you're in public places. That's just the way it is. They are allowed to refuse service to you if you don't have a mask on. That is the way it is. So for you to say that you are brave for not wearing a mask, that's just that's not, doesn't even make sense. You're not brave for not wearing a mask. Like, I don't know if you, and she never mentioned the fact that it's harder for her to breathe, like some people say when they have masks on. She just said, I just don't think they work, so I don't want to wear one anymore. And I think it's brave to say that because I'm going against the grain of what everybody else thinks. Like, this is just like, you are too big of a star. Like, there's so many people that follow you. You have to be careful of what you do in these moments, because now you can create a whole stream of people that are going to be like, well, if Carrie doesn't think that we should wear a mask, then I'm not going to wear one. You're not a doctor. You're not somebody in this field that has done the research on it. Again, you actually just took what somebody told you and you ran with it. So where you were saying in the other way, well, I was just wearing a mask because I was told to. Well, you just took it off because somebody told you to, and you don't know the research behind it yourself. So you're actually doing the same thing that you're saying that you are trying to be different from, but you're doing it on the opposite side. So it really doesn't matter. I've always said, like, whether I believe that the masks are as effective as, people claim them to be, or this, that, and the third, it really doesn't hurt me to wear a mask going inside of a grocery store. It doesn't hurt you either, Carrie. You have strong lung capacity. You were Olympic champion, 3-time Olympic gold medalist. You played volleyball well into your late 30s. Like, you are very well known, and you can handle wearing a mask for a little bit. You just can. So I'm annoyed because I just get sick of, like, public figures kind of bringing rhetoric out and saying stuff that they also don't know what they're talking about. Like, none of these people study the coronavirus or medicine, and they don't know either. So now they're taking a whole group of people, and all her followers and stuff are going to believe like, oh, yes. I saw Brett Favre in her comment section saying, yes, that's the way to say it, Carrie, and this, da-da-da. Like, there's all these athletes and whatever people saying all this stuff too. And it's just like, it's exhausting. And I love Brett Favre too. So it was annoying to even see that he co-signed on that. Jackie, my question is going to be for you. What are your thoughts on Carrie saying she was brave for going out without a mask? And do you think that this is more of a rights and freedom thing for her because she doesn't believe they work? Or do you think she just jumped on another bandwagon that was just opposite the one she was already on?
I think this is the equivalent of when kids act out, not because they actually think that their parents are telling them something wrong. It's just because they want to do what they want to do. And I think that when we see this with most adults, that's what it is. It's not, they haven't done the necessary research, because if they did, they would know the research says, no, the mask isn't going to protect you 100%. But if you have on a mask and I have on a mask, and our chances of getting it is drastically reduced. So we're looking out for each other when we wear masks more than just, you know, nothing's totally safe. So, for her, and look, I'm with you. I kind of get it, especially in this blazing heat that we had. I had to risk it a few times this past weekend. I was like, it's too hot. I can't do it. So, in that respect, I got it, but I still tried, and so for someone to just be blatant and say it's my God-given right, it's not your God-given right to put anyone in danger just because you feel like you can. So, yes, this is one of those things where it's literally a person who's just challenging authority and doesn't want to do something just because they don't want to do it. It doesn't really have any merit beyond that.
I agree with you. Carrie, put your mask back on. But thank you for getting out of California if you ain't going to wear it, because we need it.
Seriously.
Either get out of California or just go to Orange County and stay in Orange County, because that's where
that part.
That is the story of the state of California.
It is.
Sorry for Orange County. But that is it for Britt's Take today. Please wear your mask. It don't hurt y'all to wear your mask. Very simple.
I find this whole, like, I'm victimized by the mask mentality to be so bizarre. It's very
Right.
just put the
And
mask on.
I'm
No
so
one's
surprised
Yeah.
for her. It's always been like, I don't know, like from what I remember of her when she was playing volleyball, she was very liberal. She'd call out people for stuff. Like she was like, girl, like, so I was just like, okay, I believe people can change. So maybe she, in a not good way. Because people
what's the wrong way?
Yeah.
She had a regression. She had a definite regression, and there was nothing brave about going into a grocery store with no mask on. It's just inconsiderate and stupid. Like it's really not that serious. Just put the damn mask on. I find
it on that hot day too, Jackie. I think she did it on the day that was 121.
See, and then I get it because I was like, "Whoo, Jesus!" There wasn't nothing that was worth it at that point.
It was like on Sunday that she did it, so I guess it makes sense.
See, so she just didn't want to tell the truth. She didn't want to say I almost had heat stroke and died, and that's why I took this damn mask off.
Right.
I'm in my 40s now. I'm starting to go through the change. So
she's like, I went up through 2 stairs and felt my heart beating in my throat. I can't do it. I'm done.
Oh no.
Oh God. All right. Well, thank you for that, Britt's take, you guys. Well, Britt actually is the only person I need to thank, but everybody's opinions about it were great as well. Anyway, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you tap the bell if you know when we're going live. Subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, wash your hands, wear the mask, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Ooh, yeah.